Morning, Major.
Morning, Sergeant.
Hang on.
Fed up with annoying old ladies, are you?
Breaks my heart. Undefendable, you see, this place.
Yes, well, I'm not sure it needs much defending with you gone.
I think you'll find things are starting to liven up, Major.
Did you know Bolton's men were leaving today?
Not till this morning. Pity. I'd organised a little whist for this afternoon, keep up morale. I hope they'd make up the numbers. But they're all a little jumpy. There's been another shooting at Balbriggan, a constable apparently. Sergeant Bolton, looking particularly pleased with himself, I thought, informed me they were retiring to the barracks in town. Come and hold this for me, will you?
I suppose it was foolish of me to think they might have been here for our security rather than their own. Did they pay their bill?
Well, there was also some confusion there. Excuse me. They were very helpful, but apparently we have to deal with the War Office direct.
Suppose they thought if nobody else paid their bill, why should they?
Just blow gently if you wouldn't mind. You haven't seen Murphy about anywhere, have you?
No.
The wretched man has no comprehension of the needs of a scientific inquiry. A little harder, please. That's it. Keep going. I'm trying to reproduce some experiments on hunger. Cannon discovered that hunger pangs come from periodic contractions of the stomach. So, he got one of his students to swallow a balloon, like this, attached to the tube, of course, and then inflated, like so.
Edward.
Yes.
My basin has come away from the wall. I've had to change my room, and we have no electricity.
Really? Now, just watch this. With each contraction, the balloon in the stomach would be compressed, like this, driving the air through the tube, up the esophagus, out and along through here, until it makes this float vibrate over here. Pretty ingenious, really. Trouble is, the wretched Murphy refuses to swallow the damn balloon.
Hello?
Hello, good morning.
Hello?
Hello, can I give you a Dublin number?
No, I wish to speak to Sarah.
Sarah who?
Sarah Devlin. D-E-V... Whom am I speaking to? Hello? Operator?
Speaking to Mrs. Toomey. I'm the operator. The bank.
Oh, Mrs. Toomey. Yes, this is Major Archer from the Majestic.
How are you? Hope you're keeping well and feeling better after your bereavement.
Yes. Well, thank you.
Oh, that's good.
Perhaps I could leave a message.
Oh, certainly, Major. What is it, please? Yes?
Could you tell Mr. Devlin to tell Miss Devlin that if it is convenient, I will call on her at 2 o'clock this afternoon?
And is there anything else?
No. That will be all, thank you.
Goodbye, then.
Thank you. Oh, God.
It's rude to swear.
Thank you, Faith. I believe it's also rude to eavesdrop on other people's conversation.
We're looking for Daddy.
Are you? Well, he's in the gun room. I'm sure he could do with some help if you've got nothing better to do.
Come on. I don't know why they're all so interested in that girl anyway.
Oh, Major Archer, very good to see you. She's waiting. I gave her your message.
Thank you.
I just wanted to thank you for going with Sarah to Dublin last week. I'm sure a busy man like yourself has better things to be doing than hanging about doctors' waiting rooms. And Mr. Spencer, of course, very generous.
Yes, well, it was no trouble to me since I wasn't there. But I think I can say quite honestly that I wouldn't have minded waiting all week if it had been some use to Sarah.
It's very kind of you, I'm sure. So you weren't with them in Dublin?
No, I wasn't.
Are you visiting someone sick in bed?
Excuse me.
They're for you.
For me? You're ridiculous. What am I supposed to do with them? There, I've hurt your feelings. I'm sorry. Shall we go out in your motor? Will you let me drive?
It's not my car.
Oh, don't be boring. Edward won't mind. As long as you don't tell him he won't anyway. You'll have to start it, though.
Well, be careful. So, how was Dublin?
Dublin was dull. You should have come.
So, where are we going?
To the hotel, of course. Where'd you think? It's Everett's competition, the whist.
Boy! There's not our seats for everybody. Mrs. O'Neill is table 6.
I know where that is.
What about Mrs. O'Neill, table 3?
Oh, dear. One of the cats has got in.
Possible, Miss Johnston. The windows are closed and doors are guarded.
Look, there it is, under the table.
There must be a witch in the room. Plainly a witch is familiar. I wonder who it is.
Hey!
They probably thought you were Edward.
It isn't his fault they're hungry. He wanted to give away his corn, but they burnt it.
Like the Black and Tans did at Balbriggan, you mean? Burning down the town.
But hadn't a policeman been killed?
That was an accident. The Tans took a man into the street and shot him in front of his family. They say there's nobody left in Balbriggan. The whole town fled.
You don't really want to play whist, do you?
Of course I do. What do you think I'm coming for?
Mother, let me take the cat away. He'll only be a nuisance.
Leave him alone. You're all enjoying yourselves. I just have to sit here. And I don't know why I've not got any tea.
What a terrible smell of cats.
Lucky at cards, unlucky at love. Isn't that right, Major?
I believe it's usually the other way around. That's right.
I'm certain I shall make mistakes, and then everybody will be cross with me. I'm not at all sure in which direction one is supposed to move.
It's very simple, really. If you lose, you just remain seated.
But if you win, Miss Rice, well, now, you see how the tables are numbered. The winners move up. That is their fate.
Oh, I knew there would be a catch.
Ladies and gentlemen, trumps for the first hand are hearts.
Very suitable.
Sit down.
As quick as you can, ladies and gentlemen. Winners move up, losers remain where you are. Are you a winner, Miss Staveley?
No, I don't think so.
Then remain seated.
I'm afraid, partner, that we're doing rather badly.
Don't fret yourself. They say England loses its battles, but never the war.
What's this? Comfort to the enemy? Dealers, ready now, please. Is something the matter, Miss Staveley?
No, I just seem to have lost my...
Diamonds. Diamonds?
You've had your hair cut, Mr. Spencer.
Yes, so I have. Stopped at Prost's in Dublin. Couldn't very well meet my grandson for the first time looking like an organ grinder's monkey, could I?
And how was Ripon?
Ripon was very well. The baby was beautiful. He has his grandfather's eyes.
Damn cat!
Please, help me.
Mr. Evans, Remain still. Everybody remain completely still.
The strength of some of these fellas is positively frightful.
move, I'm nearly finished.
You're kneeling on my leg.
You're going to look beautiful.
I beg your pardon.
Not at all.
Good God.
What do you think? Doesn't he make a gorgeous girl? Touch him, touch him. It's so soft, his skin. I did the eyes. Do you like the eyes? We're all frightfully jealous of him. Didn't you believe it? Go on, tell the truth, tell the truth.
If I were you, I'd clear yourselves up before somebody else catches you.
Not till we take him downstairs.
No.
Why not?
Because.
Because what?
Just because.
He might as well be a girl, don't you think?
I've been thinking of taking a holiday. Italy, perhaps.
I wish I could join you, but there are responsibilities now. Sergeant Bolton didn't leave the hotel because he thought the beds would be more comfortable in the barracks, you know.
You're a great deal better off without Bolton's men.
If you're referring to the Balbriggan incident, Major, I need hardly remind you that a man was killed in cold blood.
Still no reason to go on a rampage.
A man was murdered. These people have to be taught a lesson.
By all means, let the culprits be taught a lesson. Leave the law-abiding people
But
alone.
they're all the same. They laugh behind their hands when one of our chaps
Laughing
is
is
killed.
not against the law. Burning houses is.
How the hell do you expect the police to find out who's guilty or who isn't when they're all in it together? Are you disloyal, Major, or what? Come on! Good God! There's a devil of a lot of people about. Something must be up. What do you mean by a miracle?
Exactly that, according to the Holy Romans. Some boy up in the abbey doing his devotions gazes up at his crucifix and sees blood pouring from the holy wound. Struck him dumb, apparently.
What, do you mean he can't speak?
He couldn't. He's making up for it now. Most of the town is down there bowing and scraping.
What do you make of it?
Mumbo jumbo.
Of course it's mumbo-jumbo, that's obvious.
One half of the population worshipping statues, the other half blowing them up, eh? George IV, blown up in Cork the other day.
Hello.
Sarah, would you like to sit?
Well, if you ask me, it's a case of plain hysteria, and they'll forget about it in a day or two. Isn't that right, Mr. Devlin?
I don't know about that. Strange business, that's for sure.
So you'd better believe what they tell you to believe, or the priest will send you all to hellfire. Isn't that it?
If it's hysteria, perhaps it's because so many innocent people are having their houses burned down.
There are no innocent people in Ireland these days, Major. Put on a uniform like this, you'll find that everybody's your enemy. If any of you are brave enough to be seen with a man wearing the uniform of the crown, perhaps you'd care to come out to the Abbey with me. How about you, Mr. O'Neill?
At any other time, I'd be delighted to oblige with it. I've arranged to meet my wife.
Too bad.
I really don't see the point in taking foolhardy risks. That's the first thing they teach you in the army.
Of course, you're perfectly right. All the same, the Major here is an army man. And I'm sure he'll want to come with me.
Certain. I'm ready to go whenever you like.
Funny thing, I never really cared much for the Irish, even before all this. Used to make me sick sometimes just watching them eat. I hope they all get rheumatism from kneeling in the wet grass.
Are we going down now?
You can go if you like, but I'd prefer not to get a bullet in the spine if I can help it.
Oh, I see.
I get fed up, you understand, with all the heroes at the golf club. You must excuse me not being able to resist calling their bluff from time to time. Sarah Devlin was telling me what a fine man Edward Spencer is. Incapable of a cowardly or unworthy act. She compared him favorably with me. A ruthless and unprincipled fellow, whose men harass innocent people, burn down their houses and destroy their property as the whim takes them.
What she says is true, isn't it?
I do whatever the situation requires, Major. What I try to explain to Sarah is that people like you and Edward can only afford to have fine feelings because you have someone like me to do your dirty work for you.
I think you're wrong about Edward. If anything, he supports reprisals.
Perhaps, but without dirtying his own hands. That makes all the difference. Here we are.
All in one piece, eh? Look, if you don't want to take all that too seriously, the decent Irish, and that's 90%, Major, are loyal to the British and are as appalled as anyone by these outrages that happen every now and again.
Yes, but will they stay that way if the British carry on behaving as they are?
Did anyone shoot at you this afternoon?
No.
Did anyone try to blow you up?
No.
You're the British too, you know.
Give her air, give her air. Stand back, Major. A little local difficulty. I have her. Do you think it was meant? Fiddlesticks, get water at once. You, girl, take her off. We'll take her into the lounge.
Murphy! A brush, for God's sake, a brush! Why don't we move along a little? You never know. Or go back inside. Tutor, do what you can. It's no wonder we get complaints from some of the guests. We do, you know, Major. Get complaints, I mean.
Complaints?
Heaven only knows when we last had a lick of paint and some wallpaper. Not to mention things like mending broken windows and replacing some of those old curtains. After all, if one is going to run a hotel, it may as well be a great one. What do you think?
I quite agree.
You know, we really should put the old place back on its feet, don't you think?
I should think the first job is to make sure that none of the masonry falls in anyone's head.
Clean out the swimming pool, get the old do-more generator working again.
Perhaps do something about the palm court before it undermines the foundations. And the squash court?
Capital idea. I'll have to find another place for the pigs, of course. But that shouldn't be impossible. And the cats. We have to do something about the cats.
What?
By the time I came here, the great days of the Majestic were already gone. But there were guests who've been coming here since 1880, and by God, they had stories to tell. The great hunt balls, the carnivals, the lanterns glistening on the yachts moored out in the harbor. The children and their nannies used to crowd out onto the balconies to see the glistening chandeliers and silken dresses while their parents danced on below until dawn. Then armies of waiters would appear bearing silver trays steaming with bacon and kidneys and fried eggs gleaming in the early morning light. Good God, Major, look about you. The Majestic is no fantasy. It's solid. It's here in front of our very eyes. We already have almost everything we need, more than most places, in fact. We have light, or the possibility anyway, sometimes even heat. But more important, we have a firmly established reputation as a place of fashionable luxury. Major, we shall give a ball. A magnificent ball, just like the old days. The Majestic cannot crawl back to life. It must rise, phoenix-like. The pleasure of your company is requested to celebrate the the rebirth of the Majestic Hotel. Everybody shall come, everybody who ever came, people like us. Where will you find the money? There's always money. Besides, a gentleman never begs for credit. It's an investment.
An investment.
In the future!
Who is it?
Me. Can we come in?
Certainly not. What do you want?
That girl wants to see you.
Which girl?
The one you all make such a fuss of. She wants to go for a walk.
You mean Sarah? Tell her I'm coming. How did you know I was in there?
Catty saw you go in one day. It's a linen room.
You amaze me.
What are you doing there?
Nothing. It's warm, that's all.
Ugh.
Ulrich. So, how's your new friend?
My new friend?
Sergeant Bolton. He said he'd been talking to you.
Major, I think if you stay at this hotel any longer, you're going to turn into an old woman.
You mean you've noticed?
Notice what?
I think I'm beginning to smell faintly of lavender.
He's a strange man, though, don't you think? In Kilnalock, they say he glanced at a glass of water on Father O'Mara's table, and it froze over. A layer of ice, an inch thick.
Another miracle, I suppose.
I took a peek at that statue myself. I didn't see any blood, though. Just a couple of brown spots. But they could have been anything. Oxtail soup, perhaps. Do you think that's blasphemy?
How should I know? I'm just a poor old Protestant.
I can never think of anything to say in confession, leading such a boring, blameless life. It's an easy time you have of it, you know. You can put your arm around me if that's what you're thinking. You shouldn't always be so polite. I hear you're giving a ball. I can't think why. Is it your idea?
No. Edward's.
Ah. Edward. Do you know where he is?
No, why?
Just wondered. Good heavens, what is it?
It's a root. Probably from the Palm Court. One of those wretched tropical things.
Why do you think it wants to come up in the lounge?
Looking for nourishment, I suppose. God knows what it's doing to the foundations.
Poor Edward. I do love your moustache.
Do you?
Puts me in mind of a privet hedge I once saw in Phoenix Park.
Thank you so much.
Don't mention it.
I'm so sorry.
I'll be back in a moment.
Aha. 14, 15, 16. Murphy, get a spade. That's some of them, anyway. Good thing it's a red carpet.
How's your grandfather?
Much the same, really.
Is he coming to the ball?
I don't think so. He refuses to come up here anymore. He says I'm a traitor to Ireland for coming to see the twins.
Oh, so he's a Sinn Féiner now, is he?
Ah, you wouldn't mind him. He's very old.
Even so, he should come.
He hardly gets out at all now.
Dr. Ryan?
What the bloody hell are you doing here?
Porrick says you won't come up to the Majestic. Why don't you come to the hotel tonight for dinner?
You don't understand anything, do you? You haven't understood anything since you came here. I'm not going into that building to sit at table with the British. And I won't have my own countrymen slaving to feed my belly when they have nothing to put on their own. British blackguard. You'll find a glass in the kitchen. Do you think you have achieved anything? He's past saving. They all are. And the girl? Do you think she needs a knight in shining armor? Well, I suppose you're not the first Englishman to suffer that illusion in this country. A beautiful woman seems such a solid thing. Solid as granite. But really, she's no more than a flaring match, a burst of flame, darkness before and after. You should go now before it's too late.
You're right. I must get back.
Leave. Leave Ireland. That's my prescription. Leave Kilnalock. There's no place now for a British gentleman like you.
I have to stay. At least for the ball.
So that's the reason now, is it? You're too late.
Dear Lord Hammond, good evening. Lady Hammond, it's a privilege to have you back at the Majestic.
Thank you, Edward. Isn't it all gorgeous? How do we look?
You look magnificent. Dressed like that, no one else will get a look.
Oh, champagne. Me first.
And who said you could have champagne?
Nobody said we could, and nobody said we couldn't. We're going to get, what's that word? Stocious.
Certainly are not.
Mr. Odlum, good evening.
Good evening.
Mrs. Odlum, welcome.
Good evening.
Ripper.
You splashed out in a new suit, dear Papa?
Nonsense, I've had this for years. Mrs. O'Neill, good evening.
Faith, dear, you both look so beautiful. Where did you find the dresses?
In an old trunk. We weren't even looking for ourselves.
Dear, you really shouldn't be encouraging that boy.
Well, I don't mind telling you, this is all costing me quite a bit. I bet Marie's papa 100 guineas there wouldn't be a ball. I thought you'd had a brainstorm. Isn't that right, Marie?
It's perfect. Totally perfect.
You little darling.
Well, I can't say I ever thought that I would see this again. Excuse me a moment, Mrs. O'Neill. Major? There's just one small thing that I have to ask of you. It's Viola. I was just hoping that you might keep an eye on her. She's a very innocent girl, you see, and I was hoping that you might see your way to having a dance with her. She would be very grateful, I know.
Don't worry, Major. Leave this to us. Stay there.
They're decent enough fellows, really. Besides, we're very short of young men. You can't have a ball without young blood, can you?
Depends whose it is.
Hey, hey, hey!
I wonder if I might have the pleasure of the next dance.
Well, I think Mr. Spencer...
Thank you, I'd be delighted.
May I?
You may.
Take your places. Keep aye, aye, aye.
Ladies, I wonder if you might do us the very great honor.
Ripon, come along. I have to check the eating arrangements.
Excellent. Excellent. Can't see why you're so worried about the shortage of young men. Doesn't seem to be a single woman in the building under the age of 40. Evening, Browdy. Where did you get all the flunkies from?
They came down from Dublin this morning. I must ask Murphy to keep an eye on them. We don't want anything disappearing.
Ripon!
What?
Everybody else is dancing. Come on!
Duty calls, eh?
Thank you, Miss Rice. Thank you, Major. Most enjoyable. But I fear something has come adrift. You will have to excuse me. I'm afraid I must retire temporarily for repairs.
Ladies and gentlemen, take your partners and places, please, for the dashing White Smart.
It's lovely.
Almost too good to be true.
I didn't believe it when he was describing it. Violins, silver breakfast dishes. Apparently the nannies used to allow the children to peer over the balconies and watch the dancers.
Aren't you as proud as Punch?
If anyone should be proud, it's Edward. It was his idea. All I did was humor him.
This is the way it should be all the time. Do you think we'll have silver dishes for breakfast?
Might even get breakfast.
Come on, let's go and look at what the children saw. You could be Nanny. Look, you can see them all. Do you think this is how God feels?
I hope the twins aren't drinking too much.
There, you see, it's exactly how God feels. Always worrying. Can you see Edward?
No,
There. Who's that floozy he's dancing with?
I've no idea. Why, are you jealous?
Look at me. Can't you see I'm madly in love with him? Come on, we'll freeze to death up here. I'm cold.
I know how to get you warm.
It's a linen room.
Yes. This is a place I come to.
Ah.
It's a lot warmer than my own room. There are no drafts, no noises in the pipes. It's a damn sight more comfortable.
Home from home. Oh my God, so it is. It's lovely. Like a venial sin.
It's just when I want to be by myself.
It's a hard life you have up here. A warm, soft bed. A glass of whiskey, I see. Not to mention all the women you invite here. I'm afraid my dress will get crumpled.
Sarah, I want you to be my wife.
I know. Oh, I know you do. This heat is frightful. I have to go and wash my face.
Sarah.
You haven't any idea what I'm really like, have you? Oh, I know it's not your fault. It doesn't matter whether I'm a Catholic or not. It's simply impossible, do you understand? And stop staring at me with sheep's eyes like that. You're not the man I want. That's all there is to it. That's that. So please don't mention it again. I thought you were cured of all that nonsense.
I suppose you want Edward.
If you must know, I want a man who isn't always trying to agree with people. There. And for heaven's sake, don't look so wretched. I'm sorry, but it would serve you right if I did marry you. You wouldn't like it in the least. No, don't come with me. I'll find my own way.
Ladies, lords, gentlemen, welcome back to the Majestic. This is a great night for us, and a night that heralds the dawning of a new day. I might almost say a new epoch in our glorious history.
Hear, hear.
But an army, it is said, marches on its stomach. And so it is to our intestines that I now turn. Supper is served. I hope they're looking after you, my dear fellow. Hello. Are you all right? Excuse me.
Ah, Edward,
Boy.
there you are. I was hoping to have a word with you.
I wonder if you'd excuse me.
Fidelma, more champagne.
Excuse me, Miss Fowler, but... Hey, champagne! Hey, hey, hey!
Hey, hey, hey!
Judgment will be made, and there shall be no plea that shall sway that heart, for there shall be no forgetting. Nothing shall be forgot. The day of thy reckoning is come. Bastard whores and whoremongers, ye shall crawl before the vengeance that is to come. I'll let your lecherous fingers wander while they may. God's sake, heavens. Major, come to the rescue, have you? Yeah, too late, I'm afraid. So frightfully sorry. You're a little drunk.
Give me that. If Mr. Spencer finds you like this, or the twins see you, will be out of a job.
Don't think you go unnoticed. Your eyes even more watchful than your own. Come on. You are too grand to notice them, of course. Stinking, bleeding grand. I hate them all. And they hate you too, you know. They hate you. I can see it in their eyes. They're dogs.
Get out.
Get up!
Murphy, is that you? Come here. You take him. Take him and put him in his room. And lock the door. You hear me?
Yes, I hear you, sir. But Mr. Spencer said I wasn't to go downstairs. My heart, sir.
Nobody said anything about going downstairs. Take him upstairs. Anywhere upstairs. And hide him.
Filthy little swine. Good evening, Major.
Sergeant Bolton?
Enjoying ourselves, are we?
Yes, thank you.
Perhaps you would be kind enough to convey my thanks to our host. But some of us have to be on duty rather early this morning.
Well, I'm sure Mr. Spencer will be very disappointed that you will have to leave.
Oh, but we don't. It's only me. I drew the short straw. The rest of them are enjoying themselves. Good night, Major.
Well, I'm glad someone's happy.
I don't know who made out the guest list, but I've yet to find a girl without a moustache. No offense, Major.
Where's your father?
I don't know, he's disappeared. Seth, who's that?
Someone who could do with a moustache.
Good evening, Major.
Excuse me, Major. Poor thing, Stocious.
You and your sister better both go and lie down and see that they have no more to drink. I thought I could rely on you.
Yes, Bridie, what is it?
Some gentlemen and ladies would like to say goodbye to Mr. Spencer before they leave.
Very well. Let's see if I can find him. I understand why they want to leave so early.
Major?
Viola!
Major, don't you think someone should speak to them? The soldier boys,
I'm sure they should, Mr. O'Neill. Perhaps you would like to do it yourself, since they're friends of yours.
There's no need to be short, Major. I'm only trying to help.
Where on earth did that come from?
I asked one of them if they'd give me a peacock feather. And they threw that in.
These are the ones. We'll take this one. You and Catty can go in there.
There's a good girl.
Hey, are you all right, Catty?
Of course she is. She's as right as rain.
Of course I am. Where's Face? Don't be silly, Catty. She just needs a little air. Come on, then.
Oh. Are you coming, then?
No, you idiot. We go in there. Oh.
Come on.
Bloody hell.
Can't we stay here?
No. You'll be all right once you've had a drink. Oh, did we offend her? And we were trying so hard to please.
How can we make it? Leave me alone. I'm looking for faith and charity.
She's bored of us. We'll give you more than charity. Oh, it better be Faith. Come for a walk with us.
No, I'm cold.
Oh, she's so cold and we're so hot. Perhaps we should all cool down.
No.
Come on, let's go and sit by the pool. Drool by the pool. Fool, man.
Look here. I've got some champagne. This should cheer you up. What do you want?
Nothing. Just wondered how yours was.
Fine. How's yours?
Great.
Listen, you don't want to swap, do you?
Well, no. I'm fine, thank you.
Right.
But Matthews, you're not going to be a cad, are you? I mean, your one's dead to the world.
As a matter of fact, you're wrong there, actually. She's just getting interested.
Hello?
Hello.
Let go of me! No, I don't want. No, let me. Let me. I don't want. No.
Warm and wet, just how we like it.
He took us for Latin and Greek, when in fact I didn't do Greek. I had to do geography instead, with Major Hulton. But he was by far the most popular master. If you annoyed him or anything, he used to write ass on the duster, for the blackboard, you know, and whack it into your behind with a ruler. On my last sports day, he went totally bimbo, wandering round Markland's quad, rambling on about Matron being a flabby old bitch, absolutely stinking. Created one hell of a flap. You wouldn't believe it. Something to do with the war.
Ripon, have you seen Porrig? Oh, he went outside with the soldiers.
Didn't you try and stop them?
Only having a bit of fun, Major.
Well, she's your daughter, too, you know.
Music, maestros! Let us dance!
Dance before we die, and die before we dance. Do you know she was only a bog trotter's daughter, but she knew when to part her peat?
Music! I'm gonna dance!
The man wants music. And music we shall have, gentlemen. 3, 4.
Viola!
Porrig! Porrig! Oh, my God.
When they cut the whale open, there's this tradition, if you've never caught a whale before, which my friend hadn't, of course. He was from Yorkshire, actually. They sort of throw you into the blubber, I mean. It's like blooding, I suppose. You just roll around in the fat, like drowning in butter.
Excuse me, Major, but things seem to have got a bit disorganized. I mean, where is Mr. Spencer? All these good people.
I'll say goodbye to you for Mr. Spencer. He's indisposed. Now get that dress up at once. I hope this will be a lesson to you, Porrig. If I ever catch you dressing up as a girl again, I'll throw you in the pool myself.
Oh, I think I'm going to be sick.
Your conduct completely disregards the fundamental principles of regimental honor.
Right.
I have never tolerated and will never tolerate such behavior. I want you all off my property now. Now! Do I make myself clear? Your commanding officer shall hear of this in the morning.
Thank you for leaving me to cope with everything. Where have you been?
We'll talk about it tomorrow. I must take you home.
He's had a bang on the head.
What's going on? What are you two doing still awake? You should have been in bed hours ago.
I know.
We'll say good night then.
All right.
Come on! Go on, go!
Yuck. What is it?
Drink it. It's bicarbonate of soda. You may not think much of it now, but you'll thank me in the morning.
But it is the morning.
And you're absolutely certain that neither of those young men tried to do anything?
What sort of thing do you mean?
Never mind. Now go on. Up to bed, the pair of you, before it's daylight. Who's there?
Major?
Mr. Devlin. What on earth are you doing here? Do you know what time it is? Everyone's gone.
Sorry to disturb you at this late hour, Major, but it's Sarah. She hasn't come home yet.
But she's gone home. Mr. Spencer drove her. She must be there by now.
I begged her not to come. Those drunken devils are rampaging around the town. It's not safe for a girl on her own.
Mr. Devlin, she'll be perfectly safe with Mr. Spencer.
Perfectly safe with him. He's likely worse than any of them.
You are speaking of a man of honor. Mr. Spencer is a gentleman.
He's been good to her. I can't deny that. Paying for doctors we couldn't have afforded. I suppose I'm expected to be grateful.
Oh, for God's sake, go home! She'll be there. I promise you. Just go.
You'll probably be right. My apologies.
Apologies, Major.
Major, Major, wake up.
Who's that? What time is it?
4. There's been a terrible fight downstairs. We think it must be Sinn Féiners.
I'll go down and have a look. You better stay here. I'll get into bed and we'll catch cold.
Go away, please. Things are difficult enough already. Edward is a fool, an absurd and pitiful creature. And as for my father...
Was anyone hurt?
Hurt! They managed to hurt each other, perhaps they wouldn't have looked so ridiculous. My father was drunk. Of course. Or it would never have occurred to him to fight a member of the quality. One of his own customers at the bank.
Where are they now?
Edward took them home when they'd finished fighting. I wouldn't go with them. They're probably the best of friends by now. Even before they left, my father was apologizing. Edward was terrified. I've never seen anyone look so shaken.
Dirty, filthy. I'm terribly sorry, sir. Can I take you home?
No. I telephoned a friend to come for me. He'll be here in a minute.
Are you awake?
Yes.
It was nothing. You can go back to bed now. The bookcase fell over in your father's study.
Can't we stay? It's almost morning and our beds will be freezing.
Certainly not.
Just for a little while.
No, of course not. Go back to your room.
Morning, Major. Thought you might be glad of a cup of coffee.
Bridie, what are you doing? What time is it?
Just after midday. There's no hot water. The boilers seem to have packed in after last night. Mr. Spencer's in the laundry room taking his bath there, sir. He'd like a word when you're ready.
Morning, Bridie. Is there any chance of another cup?
No, there certainly isn't. Go on, back to your room.
Golly, my head feels funny. Sorry, but I have to have a little sip. Come on, Faithy. We're going. Morning, Bridie. Thank you, Major.
They're just children, really.
Heavens! What on earth?
If you're peckish, there's breakfast for 300 sitting in the kitchen.
No, thank you. I'm not very hungry. I suspect Evans has decamped.
Good riddance, I say. The twins learned nothing from it.
Major, I owe you an apology.
Please don't mention it.
No, but I must. I'm a man of honor, and I owe you an apology. I have slipped. I have slipped, Major, but it is through the grace of our Creator that I did not fall.
There's really no need to explain.
I have grappled with the slippery Roman fish and escaped unscathed, but only just. Who knows what the consequences of my infatuation might have been? I could have been ensnared, like poor Ripon, enslaved to Rome, dragged down the road that leads to marriage and having one's faith torn out by the roots. Murphy! Hot water!
Don't be absurd, Edward.
You don't know what living in Ireland is like.
Oh, yes, I do.
At least it was my own decision, Major, not the other way around.
Well, I know someone who's going to be happy this morning. Johnson, Mooney, and O'Brien.
Who?
The pigs. They should have the breakfast.
It was poor Angela's death that started it, I suppose. It gave me an interest, helping to put a young person back on her feet, literally in a way. But I'm not making excuses, and I'm not blaming her. The weakness was my own. It's man's duty to act honorably in the face of woman's frailty. You know, sometimes...
Sometimes what?
Sometimes I even used to forget she was a Catholic.
Oh, really?
They're usually squealing with excitement when I arrive. Just have a look for me, will you?
Don't come in.
We're now in a state of siege.
Bridie, what's going on?
We have to leave. Cook says so. They say it's too dangerous. Besides, we haven't been paid for a month.
Does Mr. Spencer know?
Don't know, sir.
The situation is under control. Miss Staveley, having had considerable experience entertaining in Calcutta, has taken charge of the kitchen and has co-opted Mrs. Porteous and Miss Rice. The upper floors will have to take care of themselves, but we have managed to wrest some order from the chaos down here. Oh, Mr. Norton has lost some shirts, but I suspect the maids have stolen them. Good morning, Major.
Morning, Miss Bagley. Is Mr. Spencer on the roof?
I believe he is. He won't be coming down for lunch. I think everyone now has been spoken to, and all those who have relatives to stay with have been told to start writing their letters.
I haven't had a reply yet from the Distressed Gentlefolks Association, but it's only been 4 days.
I think there are 8, including Miss Nuttall, who will have nowhere to go, and for whom the expense of another hotel is quite out of the question. However, Maud has come up with a most generous suggestion.
I have a small house in the Isle of Wight, which hasn't been opened for years. But I think with a little help, I would be able to accommodate those who have no other place to go.
So, everyone's set.
What about Mr. Spencer?
I'll talk to him.
Douse that light immediately.
I thought I'd find you here.
Thank you.
How long are you going to wait?
As long as I have to. What's some of this?
Edward, you have to make some decisions.
What?
It's not fair on the twins. They shouldn't be here. You must take them away.
Don't try and persuade me to run, Major. I wouldn't know how.
Nobody's suggesting you run. But there are no servants. There's very little food left. And I think it may not be easy to get supplies from the village at the moment. Take some time, that's all. A holiday, if you like. I'm still thinking of going to Italy myself.
I've been sitting here thinking of Angela. The day we brought her home in the snow. She was so tiny, wrapped in my coat. Hardly seems any time at all. Perhaps you're right. Do you think I'm old?
No. But you need a rest.
A holiday. All buckets and spades. Don't get too close. London. Well, that would be something. Call on my tailor. If the old buzzard's still alive. He was always old.
So you agree?
Got you, you little bastard.
Edward!
Ah, there you are, Major. What you don't realize, Major, is that we are at war. If people come and blow things up, they must take the consequences. They must be taught a lesson.
These are our own people, Edward. They're not the Germans or the Bolshevists. This is their country as much as it is ours. More than it is ours. Blowing up statues is nothing.
So you're on their side too now, are you?
Oh, for God's sake, shut up!
I caught him red-handed. I don't shoot innocent people from behind hedges. It was perfectly fair.
You were sitting there just waiting for someone to come along, knowing that eventually it would be too much for them to resist.
Damn you! It was perfectly fair! It was perfectly fair.
I think you'd better go upstairs and go to bed. I'll see to the doctor and the police when they get here. When you finish here, I'll go back with you into Kilmallock. I must speak to the boy's father.
Don't be upset, Major.
Someone has to explain to him that Edward was only acting for himself. What hope is there for Ireland if people are allowed to behave like this? The boy was the victim of private hatred and despair. Do you understand me, Doctor? If you don't, nobody else will.
You must see that Edward goes away. Take him with you. He is your responsibility.
I know.
Coffee tin and some gelignite, a temperamental explosive which kills Shinners and British with perfect impartiality. In Irish, they call this Bos Gun Sagart, death without a priest. How many guests have you staying with you at the moment, Major?
I'm not entirely sure. About a dozen, all regulars.
I'm afraid it won't be possible for us to guarantee their safety. I haven't the men to spare.
I realize that. We've made arrangements already.
We may have some difficulty determining the exact cause of death because of the explosion. However, I think it'd be a good thing if Mr. Spencer took a bit of a holiday, shall we say. Good morning to you then, Major.
Goodbye. Ready?
As I'll ever be. Are you ready?
Edward, I'm not leaving. Not today, anyway. There are things that need to be done. Someone has to make sure that the servants, absent or otherwise, are provided for. So I've made up my mind. I'm staying.
Not here, you can't. The whole place is falling to pieces. It isn't safe.
Well, I'll keep to the rooms with the fewest cracks.
Without servants?
There's always Murphy.
Well,
I shall stay with you, of course.
There's absolutely no question of that. You have the twins to think of. I'm not responsible to anyone.
Now, look here.
Please, don't argue with me. I really have made up my mind.
I don't think I like Calcutta. What? Calcutta! Filthy place.
We're not going to Calcutta, Granny.
Not?
Flat bit. No. Step.
Then why all this fuss and bother?
We're going to London.
Am I pregnant, then?
Goodbye, then. I won't be far behind you. Good, good. I've written to some architects in London. I'm going to start work on the restoration as soon as I get there. What we needed was a little professional advice. It's going to be all right, you'll see.
Come on, you won't get to Dublin in time.
Goodbye, then.
You haven't kissed us. You haven't kissed us, and you promised. Andy, it's not fair. She's always first. You're sitting in the front.
Goodbye.
Bye, Mabel. Bye. Bye. Bye.
Can I help?
Hell's bells, you gave me a fright. What happened?
Ceiling collapsed. What are you doing here?
Orders. The inspector told me I'm supposed to check round the building. But I don't suppose you have a cup of tea I could scrounge first, do you?
Expect we could find something. How's your head?
Fine, sir. Thank you. It's rather a nasty bump, actually. Doctors had me in bed for a week. Some sort of fracture, apparently. I'm fine now.
Good.
Extraordinary old building.
Yes.
Seems a peculiar place to put it, really.
Yes. I suppose it does.
I mean, what will they do with it now?
I don't know.
You've heard the scandal
Scandal?
about Sergeant Bolton.
No.
He ran off to Dublin with some Irish tart.
An Irish girl?
You wouldn't have thought it of Bolton, really, would you? She was here at the ball. You may remember her, dark hair.
Yes. Perhaps I do.
They say that if she so much as looks at another man, he knocks her cold on the spot.
How do you know this?
One of our chaps was in Dublin the other day. He saw them together in jammers. There was a scene with some fellow who was staring at her. Personally, I don't go for it much. Listen, I'd better make a start. I'll walk round. If you want, you can meet me halfway.
What are you going to do?
I'll just check round the locks and windows.
that sort of thing.
Matthews? Oh!
Fears to sleep on like this. Is that the name? When cowards bark the pigeon's feet. Rock for the rock. Here.
Sorry, miss. Still no train. I'll let you know if I hear anything.
Thank you.
Puss, puss, puss.
Sarah will come and pick me up soon.
But no train. And our vehicle had left, so we took the shortcut along the beach. Mr. Norton's looking after our luggage.
The station master was no use at all.
For God's sake, stop talking and dig!
Well, you're going or staying?
Going. But slowly.
Like the rest of the British.
Perhaps. Do you think there will be peace? I mean, do you think there can be peace after all this killing?
For some, at least. Although I think perhaps my peace may come sooner than yours.
You can put your arm around me if that's what you're thinking.